from WCIA 3 Plus with your hosts Glenn Kinley, Courtney Layne Brewer, and Tristan Thomas. This is the SEFQ, your Illini Nation, WCIA 3-in-1 podcast.
Welcome into the Your Illini Nation 3-in-1 podcast. I'm Courtney Layne Brewer with Tristan Thomas here. Lots to talk about as we enter the third week of the new year, third week.
Who knows what day it is
right
now?
Our lives are all basketball all the time, and it's the most wonderful time of the year, which means we should probably start by talking some basketball. Tristan and I are once again recording this on Tuesday night of the week you are watching, which means the Illini head up to Northwestern tomorrow to take on the Wildcats. Wildcats are 8-8 so far to start off the season, winless in Big Ten play, but of course led by the leading scorer in all of the NCAA, Nick Martinelli.
Yeah, and he was big time. Last time these teams played in Evanston, scored 27, but a big difference, no Brooks Barnhizer this time. He also gave Illinois some troubles. Jalen Leach also scored back in double figures back in that game. That was Illinois' first Big Ten game last year, obviously with a whole new roster and a team that lost in overtime. Funny enough, the last two times those teams have played in Evanston, overtime losses for Illinois.
I thought that was interesting last year when it happened.
And then it happened again.
Because when it happened during the 3-4 season, that was one of my first Illini games. And so I was like, what is happening here? And so to see it happen twice at that arena was very interesting.
Regardless, it's a fun environment. It's bragging rights-esque. That was my first time there last year seeing that game. And even though it was an Illinois loss, it was fun to see both crowds really get into it. Every time somebody scored, you got a crowd pop. So a small gym, I'd say maybe the smallest in the Big Ten.
It's a very odd gym because it is small, but it's
new.
It's brand new.
Mm-hmm.
It's just tiny. So it's very interesting. The fans get more into it than I thought they would have in my first time going there. And I mean, it's in-state. You've got the added spice. You and I were just talking before the 10 o'clock news about the added spice of, Kendall Gill's going to be there in probably a Northwestern shirt. I said he needs to get one of those like crisscrossy jerseys like Donna Kelsey.
Split it in half.
Yes. So it's gotten to be a really interesting rivalry of these last few years. I also pointed out at 10 o'clock, this series has been split, the host winning the last 3 meetings.
Wow.
Or the last 3 seasons, I should say.
Wow. That's strange. But Illinois, look, an 8.5-point favorite. You're expecting to win. A Northwestern team that's lost to Butler. They have another mid-major loss on their resume. So it's just it's another take care of business game. That's all it really is. Even though it's on the road, similar to that that Rutgers game of like, hey, you could build up Northwestern all you want, but at the end of the day, Illinois is expected to win and they should win. And like Brad Underwood said after the win at Iowa, Big Ten road wins are like gold, and it's his chance to go mining for more gold.
I love when he says that. Feels apropos to talk about Keaton Wagler a little bit.
Yeah.
He's had 3 high teens games.
Yeah.
Imagine if he was just scoring 90 points. High teen games to start off the year, and
he's scoring in double figures.
Yes. Has now been named Big Ten Freshman of the Week back-to-back weeks 3 times this season. I mean, what have you seen from this kid who, remind you, was highly under-recruited?
What I keep going back to is just steadiness. Like, he's in a KJ realm as far as NBA draft and hype for the next level, 18 years old, all these things. But it just feels like what you're gonna get from Keaton. He's gonna give you, if he's open, it feels like he's gonna knock down the 3. You can get him the ball in an isolation, get him the ball in a pick and roll. He can back down his defender. He can hit a step back 3. He can take some of those NBA range 3s that we've seen, especially in that Iowa game. And he's just a matchup nightmare. He's a problem. He's got size, length. He's just got a little bit of everything in his game, and it's been so fun to see. So impressive. You hear all the things we heard at the start of the season of Keaton Wagler. He's impressive. This guy is cold. I remember Kylan Boswell saying, "This guy is cold," and you're like, "All right, what are they gassing him up, or is this like for real?" And it took a game or 2 or 3, but then when Keaton Wagler got going, it was okay. This guy is legit. Like, this is one of the best freshmen in the Big Ten. Him and David playing major roles for this team where Brad Underwood says, get old and stay old, yet he says these guys are, kind of experienced beyond their years. Like they've got that savvy, that calmness, and that helps you on the road, and a steadiness that Illinois will need against the Cats and through the rest of the season.
That's right. Brad Underwood had lots more to say previewing this game against the Wildcats. Coming up, we'll have his press conference from today. We'll take a quick break, get you that, and then Tristan and I will be back. Let's touch on a little women's basketball, and then we have to talk about the biggest news of the day in Illinois' new football scoreboard. We'll get to that coming up in a second.
Yeah, and on to the next. Fairly quick turn. Did a lot of good things in the Iowa game. Felt obviously very, very pleased with the start and somewhat pleased with the end. Thought great poise. We didn't have a lot of things go our way in that time frame, and yet made free throws, made plays, got really poised under duress, and we hadn't seen that kind of animosity from a crowd, stress, things not go our way, and this team handled that very well. So felt good about that. A lot of things to learn from in that game. We've talked with our guys about some of those things, and yet now we get faced with the leading scorer in the country, Northwestern. Much better than what their record is showing. They've led in the second half of every one of those games. They're very physical. Obviously, Nikki's just having one of the great years in college basketball. Leading the country in scoring. His shooting is off the chart. He does it in a lot of ways. They're very versatile. They're not quite as big as they've been. They've been playing him some small ball 5. But a very, very good basketball team. Typical Chris Collins team. Gonna punch you on the defensive end, be very, very physical. And then, they're playing through one of the best players in the country a lot. His usage is very high. He elevates others. You got to make his challenges and shots hard. You can't give him the easy ones. And then you've got to keep him off the boards. He gets, 3.5 offensive rebounds a game. So a very good basketball team, and, it'll be a great environment, and we'll have to play well.
What's in the makeup of your guys that so far they don't seem to be rattled in road environments?
Well, I think it starts with Kylan. Obviously you've got a veteran who's 100 and plus games into his career, kind of been there, done that. I think Keaton for a freshman's been pretty stoic and emotionless, and just takes the next play as it comes. Doesn't get too off kilter. I think we're seeing that from Andre. Again, a veteran, a guy who's got some experience. Tommy's got college experience, and I just think it's just been kind of a carryover from those guys on down, and it's nice to have that.
What you learn about your guys to come out of that environment down the stretch, hostile, hold their composure?
Yeah, just a maturity that you've got to have. We weren't afraid to. We made some mistakes. I mean, we had 2 live ball turnovers coming out of a timeout. We had a hook and hold go against us. That's a tough break, and you've got a ball that gets wedged between the rim and the backboard on a good defensive play, and the jump ball's theirs. And yet through all of that stuff, we continue to make free throws, continue to make the right play, and in a game that was probably an 8 to 10 point game is all of a sudden down to 4 points, and you've got to make the right plays and make the free throws, and we did that.
What was your vantage point on the hook and hold when you went back and watched it?
Probably the right call. It's so judgmental because a lot of times they want to see you just yank on the guy before they call it as a flagrant one. I didn't think that happened. but I thought it was the right call. I'm not a very big fan of the penalty. You know, flagrant one, you know, it's the penalty, but you know, it's a pretty steep penalty for something that's very rarely called anymore.
You played 8 guys in that game. Are you good where you're at with the distribution of minutes? You want to get more out of the bench? Or?
Game to game, game to game. We've got a lot of guys who can play, and game to game, we'll see what a lot of timeouts. The Fox games are long timeouts. There was a lot of timeouts called early in that game. It's just a game to game situation, and feel and fouls and everything else that goes on.
Martinelli's been pretty steady, a constant for them, but it seems like Chris is kind of, I don't know, going through different rotations quite a bit, just kind of see what works. Does that make, what's the challenge there where maybe you can't lock into this is going to be kind of what they are?
Yeah, you know, Nick didn't play in the Butler game, and you know, they started different, and then you know, they've come back here in a couple games and played him as a small ball 5 and brought Paige off the bench, and you know, we've got to be ready for whatever they present, and you know, we'll talk about a lot of those different scenarios and have, but yeah, it's, you know, you're going to see a you know, potentially a big lineup they could play and slide Nick to the 3, or they could play small to 5, and we got to be ready for all those things.
A two-parter, kind of a big picture thing. You talked in the past about getting old, staying old, but you have 2 freshmen who are pretty key contributors on this team, key leaders. How did that come about, and why are they right to be in that role?
Yeah, they've proven they can handle it. I think that you know, I don't look at age when age is good. You know, when young age is good, you know, and they're performing at a high level, and they've earned some trust. I think they've got a maturity beyond their years, but yeah, there's tremendous value in, you know, age and experience, and you got the oldest team in the country, still undefeated, Nebraska. So there's tremendous value in that. Not every freshman is like what we have. We've gotten very fortunate there, and you know, guys did a great job evaluating, and you know, we're the recipient of that. But they've earned everybody's trust.
But when you say, like, you have older guys, Kylan's played 100 games or whatever, how did you see those two over the course of the summer, preseason, season, earn that trust? And because Kylan clearly believes, Andre believes in them.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a fight every day because they were going to, Kylan and Keaton were going against each other, and it was, you know, all of a sudden you start seeing a young kid not back down and a young kid kind of hold his own, and you know what, you know, Kylan's ultra competitive, and now all of a sudden you throw Andre in there at 6'6" and physical and experience and holding his own, and it's just you know, it's one of those things that I think it was earned. It happened in not a short time frame. It happened over the course of the summer, or the start of early practices, and I think everybody, as we continued working out, said, okay, this could be something pretty good, and he's played into that and earned that responsibility, as has Mark.
What's allowed this team to maybe match up on the way you want to on offense, and then defensively maybe handle whatever, you know, other kind of, you know, lineup they might see?
Yeah, I think you know, Tyler's done a really good job offensively of kind of figuring it out. We've got a lot of action guys. You know, I like to think we've got 4, maybe 5, you know, that we can create actions with, create mismatches. We liked a lot of the mismatches early with Andre in the Iowa game. You know, we liked some of those options with Merck. Late, it was Keaton. You know, we can put Bam in a lot of those as well. So it's just about finding those matchups, having the right personnel. The decision making is vital in those key moments. Tommy's another one that we do a lot of those things with. So we've got guys that we can put in different places on the floor and expect their decision making to be very, very good.
There's some common denominators during this winning streak, and do you feel like your team's established an identity? If you have, what kind of is that identity?
Well, I think we're getting better defensively. I think that, you know, we've always felt pretty solid about our offense, and you know, whatever coverage you want to play us, we've seen it all now. So from 5-way switching to four-way switching to not switching to. So I think we feel good that way. I think it's been a struggle defensively through the first semester to get where I thought we could be, and we've made strides there. So I think we're getting tougher. I think we're getting more of an ability to not make mistakes. That's coming from communication, just connectivity of practice and being together, and so I think we're getting there. I don't think we're there yet. I think we've still got a few steps to go before we get to the ceiling.
See Tyler kind of directing traffic offensively during the games, but how much have you seen the way the players notice or realize or understand that those matchups are really not just on the
they're getting pretty good at it. We don't run much. There's not a lot of sets. We may put you in a different alignment, but it's all about the decision making. It's very much an NBA style. It's based on their ability to make decisions, and they understand who and what we're trying to do in those situations. We just may move the pieces, and for us, it's really truly positionless. We've got 5 guys playing in different spots, and you can put Tommy or Z in a corner, and you could put them in ball screens, or you can put them in the dunker, and we scored in all of those. One of the great plays the other night was we had Kylan Boswell in the dunker spot, and just moving pieces around. So the guys understand that and are starting to do that. And for us, it's about shot selection, and they're grasping that as well.
Still some pretty rare zone appearances, but we've seen you guys do it a little bit more. Where do you feel like you guys are at, and that is a curveball or a changeup to throw?
Yeah, for us, it's about stealing a possession, here or there throughout the course of a game, and I think it's you can call it what you want, a curveball, whatever, and it's been been nice for us to have that, and I think Cam's doing a nice job and getting our guys to understand that and not getting beat that way. So we'll continue to dabble that in.
You said last week you didn't have any update on Tony. What are the last hurdles to clear for him to get here?
Yeah, he'll be here today or tomorrow. He's finally gotten his visa. It was all about his just handling his appointment over there and getting all that settled. So took a little longer than we'd hoped, but yeah, he should be here in the next 24 hours.
What's kind of his role this year? Is it just kind of like practicing, get accustomed to the team, or
Get better.
Get better.
Get better. However, whatever that looks like, get better. And that's not expecting a whole lot here early. You got to get in shape. You got to get acclimated to Fletch, school, everything else. So it's a process, and it's just continue, get settled in and work and get better.
What is the rough timeline in terms of time with Fletch in the weight room versus when he actually gets
No
on
timeline.
the basketball court?
Just whenever every individual does that differently. I mean, it took, we brought Dane in a semester. It took him longer. We're not going to put them out there where they can hurt somebody else or themselves, and conditioning's a big piece of that. And there'll be obviously individual workouts, but we'll manage that accordingly.
Can you just talk about Andre taking coaching? He told us about the demands and expectations placed on him here, and we've seen him become a more complete player since he's arrived here.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's an unbelievable kid. He wants to be great. He doesn't want to be a scorer on a team that didn't win a lot of games. He doesn't want that. He's understanding, he drove into 4 guys the other day and tried to shoot one, and he goes, just a general observation, he goes, I probably should have passed that one. Yeah, he probably should have. And those are things that he's got to do, and to continue to grow and understand and trust his teammates. But defensively, I felt all along that when we took him, he had a chance to be an elite defender. And obviously we got cheated out of 7 weeks because of his injury. But that doesn't stop him from watching film. That doesn't stop him from wanting to be great. And now we've got to get him consistently doing those things where there's no plays off, and he's consistently rebounding, and it's been unbelievable to coach him. And just because it's he's starting to understand that not every night's his night offensively. Some night that's what happens when you've got a bunch of guys averaging double figures, and he's going to teams load up and scouting and all of that. It's what happens on a winning team, and he's just been unbelievable at how he's approached it and handled it. Thank you.
All right, welcome back, Tristan. I feel like I've been texting in the group chat with you and Glenn for a month now, asking the AP voters to please rank the women's basketball team.
Yeah.
And finally,
finally they listened.
Not after beating the number 7 team in the country,
No.
but finally this team is in the polls.
Yeah.
I had to laugh. Somebody on Twitter was in a fellow reporter of ours mentions like, "Oh, this is crazy. When was the last time the men and the women were ranked?" And it was Joey Wagner for 24/7 replied and said, "Last season."
Yep.
It's just so
4 years in a row they've been ranked.
4 years in a row, 11 times under Shauna Green, just on the up and up, continuing to impress.
What more can you say? I mean, it was like this year was more, I feel like, surprising. Like I think I came into the season a little bit more bullish on this team than others were. I feel like, because it was like the talent on paper was there. Destiny Jackson, Ciara Parchment, like big time players. Maddie Weber.
I don't even think we were talking about Ciara Parchment preseason.
Yeah, we really weren't.
And now she's a beast.
Yeah, I mean, she, like, you look back at the recruiting rankings and stuff, and yeah, like I think she got here early last year and didn't play, and I think we just kind of forgot about her. Like, and I think with overshadowed a little bit by Destiny being the in-state player, the Miss Basketball, like she's gonna get the headlines as far as freshmen that are gonna make an impact. But from game one, I was like, oh, okay, she's like a point forward type player that she can score, she can distribute. Another element to this team that I think makes them harder to defend and scarier for teams when you talk about all the shooting, 3-point shooting especially, that it seems like anyone can go off and hit from there. And so far, it's been a gauntlet of Big Ten games for this women's team to open up the new year. Hosting Maryland, injured Maryland team, sounds like, but still a big win for Illinois, and then a close one at Michigan State where they trailed big at half and came back and made it a real game, and a valiant effort against a really good Michigan State team. And then you had Ohio State close most of the way. They had that one of their players, Jelani Cambridge, went nuts, 41 points in front of Asia Wilson. That was wild. She's just there with Bam Adebayo. I'm freaking out anyway.
And I'm at Smithburger with my parents like, should I go? Should I go down to the State Farm Center?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, geez, a 4-time MVP. Like, is it fair to call her like the female LeBron?
I'd say so.
She is.
She might be a little young for that comparison, but I definitely think.
But on that generational arc.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was over here trying to find a tweet from Glenn Kenley about, in a perfect world, it's 2020, I almost said 2025, 2026. We know the transfer portal exists. We know that the WNBA exists. But in a perfect world, what this team could be next year and the year after that, I mean, second year Barry Wallace is scary.
She's
Imagine what
steady.
What an upperclassman Barry Wallace.
Yeah.
We'll see what they can do against Michigan. This will be a big test for that team on the road. I've been at the Chrysler Center. I know how loud it can get there, and their women's team is on a heater, so we'll see. We've got about a minute or so left. Tristan, I want to hear from you about this scoreboard as someone who's grown up going to Illini football games. I mean, I said to Jennifer Roscoe today, it would make a lot of sense for somebody on SEC Twitter to say, why does Illinois need the biggest scoreboard? But look what this team has done.
I've seen like someone from like Ohio State Twitter that was like, meanwhile us, and it's like they've got a tiny scoreboard.
I saw the exact same tweet.
Which is, I mean, it's just a funny situation to be in. I think I don't know. I think you can make the argument. Plenty of people are making the argument, hey, you could have spent this money elsewhere. You could have upgraded X, Y, Z, whatever. I think it's cool. I'm going to be excited to see it. Is it the perfect use of resources? I don't know, but it's certainly something to make Illinois stand out. They were with the Smith Center, they were up ahead of the curve and had a state of the art facility at the time that helped with recruiting. I imagine this is something that you can kind of puts Illinois on the map in a sense of, hey, they got the big scoreboard. It just adds to the kind of the snowball of Illinois football and the everything Brett Bielema is building over there. So I don't know. I'm excited to see
I'm really
replays
excited.
over there.
I'm excited to physically lay my eyes upon it.
Yeah.
But I'm also the grand scheme of things, what this means for Brett Bielema, I've said it like 3 weeks in a row, what this says in year 10 of Josh Whitman is just incredible for this program. And it's happening. I mean, you drove past the stadium today and they were taking the old scoreboard down.
Yeah.
So it'll
letter
be
by letter.
Letter by letter. It'll be here before we know it. I'm kind of hoping that when we go to like spring ball in April, we'll be able to see it in progress. And we'll have that obviously on our social media. We've got everything. What was that?
Is there going to be a big curtain that they like?
That would be dope, and I hope they're listening because that would be really cool to just do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
How much would a big curtain cost? I don't know. I'm not paying for it.
Probably less than the biggest scoreboard in college football.
It's a footnote on the bill of that thing.
I think you should ask Josh Whitman next time you see him, and I'm sure he would have the answer completely ready for you. Well, we've got another big week ahead with both Illini teams trying to stay in the poll and continue to keep things up. We'll have all that coverage. Tristan's heading to Evanston tomorrow. I'm very excited for you as someone who got to go there and really enjoyed it. And we'll have plenty of coverage all week long. For Tristan Thomas, I'm Courtney Layne Brewer. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.